Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, David Williams. Make sure, guys, to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. If you're not watching this on BattleViewer.com, go over there right now and check it out. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you and answer for us the question of the day.
Which is, who are your favorite battle buddies to watch?
That's right. Now, that last match that we just watched was very chaotic. I didn't really get to kind of see a lot of the battle buddy system. I did see what I thought might have been maybe the opposite. We were talking about was Chai Sniper being pushed by the rest of his team. So that was kind of a cool battle buddy, I guess, if that was it.
Something like that.
Yeah, that'd probably be mine. David?
I'm still going to go with Canadian Impact and Militant.
Yep, so guys, let us know what your guys' favorite battle buddies to watch here for the Season 2 Gold League. But right now, our fourth and final match is about to get underway. It is going to be eClipse versus High Woltage. On the side of eClipse, we have Tigers. On the side of High Woltage, we have Tofu Smurf. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. And Tigers for eClipse. Going to go ahead and start over with you. Now, coming into after a pretty decent break here between 2015 and 2016, how have you guys kind of set to prepare to face off against High Woltage tonight?
We had some good scrims at the end of the break, and we have switched up our calling a little bit. I'm taking a more active role in it, and we switched around our roster a little bit. Obviously, we lost our team captain due to a variety of reasons, but we're switching out our roster, and hopefully the team's going to perform a little bit better now.
All right, yeah. Well, hopefully you guys that cohesion kind of does work out, and best of luck tonight as you kind of give it your first kind of go.
So, who are your favorite battle buddies to watch?
Oh, me? Well, I prefer watching Noble. I like watching Canadian Impact and Dodo play together. They're a pretty good combo, and I know the guys from Otter, and they perform really well. And it seems like Noble is really good with their flexies. I know they lost tonight, but Simp is a very strong team anyways, so I don't fault them for that.
Sure.
Simp definitely out battle buddied him tonight, and
yeah.
then there was Dryness.
Yeah, and then Dryness
on top of that.
In an RU251 just killing it. Well, Tigers, thank you so much. Tofu Smurf, over to you. Good to see you again, man. So I feel like I haven't seen you since last time you guys were actually here in the studio for the season finals. But the question is, you guys are coming back to America. How was the WCAs for you guys? Anything you guys learned as a team?
It was a good experience, I think, for everybody. I personally didn't go. I had to deal with a lot of personal stuff.
Gotcha.
But the guys went. They did really well. They placed third
congratulations
overall
by the way,
behind Hellraisers and Navi in that order. And we got our revenge against Elong to get third. And then we beat formerly known as Virtus Pro 5-1. So and I think that's one of the more impressive international games NA has ever done.
Absolutely. Congratulations again. I commend you guys hugely for that victory and doing so well over there in China.
Thank you.
So, Tofu, Jay Smooth mentioned you as part of his favorite battle buddy group, but who are your favorite battle buddies to watch?
I think if we're talking all-time, in the words of Ryukill, it's got to be Tofu Kumi. But that's just me, my opinion. For this season, I don't think anyone can say no to some bird and ox mouse on mouse action. So
True.
I mean, really, what is there to say about that?
Totally forgot about that. Thank you so much, Tofu Smurf, for bringing that to my memory. Now, gentlemen, before we get into the battle, Tigers, is there anything you'd like to say to Tofu before we get started?
Tofu, if I had to pick a battle buddy from another team, it would be you. So I'm expecting to play you tonight, and if you don't play me, I know you're going to be scared.
Oh, Tofu, your response.
I would accept that normally, simply so he doesn't kick me from the clan.
Okay, well, there we go. Gentlemen, best of luck. I mean, that's wise. Best of luck to both of you, and we'll see you guys very shortly.
All right, take it easy.
Thank you so much. Now, before we kind of forget what they were just kind of talking about there, what Tigers are saying, if you are a team going up against High Woltage, I feel like any team right now, just like last season, they were just dominating so much. What is just the different mentality you bring to the battle? It's going against a team that we're like, but when you're going against a team, you're like, okay, these guys are no joke. Is there much more stress? You try to let's forget about the stress?
There's no real good answer to that. But we can talk about it a little bit while we check out the rosters.
Pull the rosters, both these teams on the side of eClipse, on the side of High Woltage. David.
T1 Diabetic and Master Pupil are really the standouts for the most part for eClipse so far. However, they are proving themselves in a number of different places. High Voltage, pretty much everybody, like we've talked about in the past. Ox Mathis being the biggest standout. Bird Thief and Blue Boys falling pretty close behind in points at the moment. The points aren't everything. But how do you prepare for like playing a team like High Voltage? Business as usual. You got to play the way that you are capable of playing to the best of your ability. If that makes sense. You don't want to change something and do something new to them unless you're absolutely certain that your best can't beat, say, their average. Because if you are altering yourself, you're assuming that they're going to play perfectly. But if you play you to the best of your ability and they don't, your best can win.
All right, that does make sense. We'll see if that is eClipse's mentality as we're going to our fourth and final matchup of the night as they're facing off against High Voltage starting out on Prokhorovka. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
eClipse with an E5, 2 Action X's, 2 140s, a T22 and an RU251. High Voltage with 2 I7s, a Batshad, and STB, 2 T22s and an RU251 of their own. What's interesting is for eClipse, their most played map is Prokhorovka, and for High Voltage, their most played map is Himmelsdorf. So we'll see if that's what comes up next. Either way, that's 4 games from now. And eClipse beginning to roll out into the west, it looks like.
Looks like we have a DC that has been called. So everyone's going to be stopping. We're going to be going back to the garage here. And now, one of the things that I did notice between both these teams, their camos are very similar.
Yes.
Very similar
for a moment
camos.
there, I thought they were wrong. And
then
I was like, wait, no, they have the same camo.
So try to get confused as the fights. Focus on the colors above the names, not the colors of the tanks, because this is going to be a pretty tricky one to decipher between both of these. Now,
well, this time they could be wrong and nobody would know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, hey, you know what? Yeah, don't pay attention at all. It's all
it
good.
comes down to how much purple is in it. That's pretty much it. The more the purple, the higher the voltage.
Love it so much. Now, we haven't seen High Voltage in a while. It's been a long time since we've seen these guys play, just like Noble.
3 whole match days.
But they haven't, just because they've been gone. Again, they were still playing. They were playing against some very high level teams. They did a fantastic job against them, and so it'll be interesting. But that, to my understanding, that was the last season format. It was still 754 what they were playing, correct?
You're talking about in WCA?
In WCA.
Yes.
So they're playing the 754. Is that a weird switch up to kind of be going back and forth and back and forth?
Yes, no practice for both, and perhaps they had roster changes they wanted to make for the difference. You know, somebody they want to play more in Tier 10 and less in Tier 8. And I believe they actually picked up some additional people to round out not having Tofu and people like that. But it's a definite polar shift, so I'm sure they're appreciating both teams, Noble and High Voltage, appreciating now that they can focus solely on Tier 10 and the future.
Sure. I'm excited to see kind of what they're bringing to this. If we saw a lot of the M40 patents coming out for Noble. I think they were the ones that should bring that a lot tonight. Or was that our first match of the night?
It was M46.
M46.
Yes.
So
and that was Ding and A bringing them a lot.
So we saw a lot on Prokhorovka. We saw how they did a fantastic job there. So I'll be interested to see if that is going to be a new meta that happens on this map. If the teams will have that kind of the stalemate as we saw. Looking at, how do you approach this map as a higher skilled team? Can you bully another team easily on this map, or there's still plenty of times where it can go wrong?
It depends on kind of what you're looking for. If you're playing, say it was High Voltage versus Noble, then that's a super complex discussion.
Sure.
In this match, what I would be trying to do if I were High Voltage is I would assume that eClipse is good, and that if you give them the room that they will be able to squeak out wins on you. But I would assume that in a head-to-head playing the same thing, the same side, the same lineup, the closer we can get it to being the same, the more of an advantage it is for us, because that's where our experience, our positional play, our player skill comes in. So what I'd be trying to do, or hoping to do, is trying to run smack dab into them
just
everywhere.
Full force.
They go west, we go west. They go east, we go east. And then we count on our ability to play better, rotate better, know what to do in the right situations in order to bring home the wins. That is the easiest way of winning for the good teams, which is why we're talking about the best teams will pick maps like Cliff and Mines, because
where it is just head-to-head.
Where they can it is just head-to-head, right? Because they're forcing other people to play the thing that they have the biggest skill gap on.
Gotcha.
The hardest stuff to do.
Makes sense. As
opposed to, say, a Himmelsdorf or a Ghost Town to a certain extent, where there's a lot of strategy involved in how to do things. The more room you leave for strategy, the less player skill matters. Think about it as like a sliding scale, right? And the player skill always matters, but the more the strategy matters, the less skill matters. The more the skill matters, the less strategy matters. So You want to make it skill-based because that is your biggest
That's their
gap.
strength. And now, is Prorivka a easy map to take it right to the enemy, or is it?
Yes.
I mean, it seems like a big map, but there's
It's
not a lot
rock,
of places
paper,
to hide.
scissors. Oh, well, it's more of a coin toss. They're going west, they're going east.
Simple.
But that's it. And Pro is a good map for teams that played it in previous seasons. Now, I didn't see it last season, so High Voltage as a team doesn't have experience on it. But Arclit does. A lot of their players
Individual.
do. Right.
Right.
And it's not a hard map to play. All the answers are there if you know how to find them. And it comes down to shots at the right time and team cohesion. And that's
Okay.
pretty much it. But strategically,
Pretty simple.
it's pretty simple. Most have already been worked out.
All right. Now, again, we have that hill over down on the southeast side of this map that we really haven't seen a lot of people utilize. J Smooth tried to utilize it today, got shut down by a bat chat. But if the team is going to be fighting on the eastern side of the map, is that hill like crucial and amazing and awesome if you can take it, or do people just like we won't really use that? Because I don't really see teams going for the hill much.
It's not that great. The distances which you can fire are a lot further, and the hill is angled in such a way that it's actually fairly easy to shoot the people who are on it once they get spotted.
Really?
There were periods of time where the bushes on top were great, and there was a lot that you could do with that position. But due to the render mechanics and how the game works, it's never been as good as it could be if you were able to see and render tanks all the way across the map and fire all the way across the map with their
Okay.
shell disappearing. Then it would be incredibly overpowered
Huh.
because it has the elevation on everybody else. Granted, that would work both ways. You get somebody to spot it. Anybody that goes
then
on there
you
gets
get
volleyed from
shot
the
too.
entire map. So
Right.
it would probably be a very key point that people would fight around, which would make it probably northern biased.
It also seems like it possibly. I mean, I think it is. Looking at the map, it is closer to the defensive team or the offensive team.
Yes.
So it's interesting if you did like put your guys there and say, hey, we're gonna put our guys here and go for the eastern side. Like they could do that, but you're saying even if they were up there, even if the defensive team was on the western side, they can still get the damage, get the shots up
Yes.
on top. Now, and also, sorry guys, we're almost getting ready into the battle. Just a few more seconds away here as the teams are reloading in. I want to give the teams an equal opportunity to play the best of their abilities and have all 7 members to play.
Got to make sure the connections
Got to
work.
make sure you can play with all 7 people. Artillery is on this map, something we haven't really seen. Why?
Mostly because the distances to engage are so short.
It's like
that
once
there's
the
not
shot
an
goes off-
artillery that really works. Yeah,
It's like, oh, now we can just rush them.
yeah. So you're playing on the downhill slope of an angle of a hill. If somebody then misses that shot, which is hard to hit,
Go.
then you just go up and over and they lose.
All right.
For the most part.
Gotcha. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now back. It looks like everyone is connected. It is eClipse versus High Voltage. No one has won yet, so let's get right into it and see who's going to take the first battle. What do we got for our tanks?
They're the same as they were because those
That's
are
the
the rules.
rules.
An E5, 2 Action X's, 2 140s, a T22, and an RU251 for eClipse. For High Voltage, 2 I7s, a Batchat, and STB, 2 T22s, and RU251.
All right. So again,
There we have it. That's what we were
cameras,
talking about.
Super similar.
Thinking side to side.
So this is High Voltage that you see now, and this is eClipse. Like just very similar. One little more like hexagonal looking on High Voltage. Maybe that's the best way to. Just look
Purplier.
purpler.
Purpler.
Purpler. Way purpler on High
I
Voltage.
actually do not know the proper conjugation for that, which is interesting.
No one does. Santa got me a New English
More purple.
dictionary.
It's probably correct.
Let's talk for another time. We do have High Voltage. Looks like they're going
Let's talk
over
for now.
for the sorry for the western side here. Ox in the running that bat chat again. We're kind of talking about the tank that is just such a crucial tank. A lot of these teams have been bringing, showing an amazing autoloader. Does good damage. Very versatile.
Oh, Wally.
Oh, wall hacks though, getting wrecked. 800. Oh, press F to pay respects right now. Driving right out, getting lit up from mostly every single member from eClipse there. And that is already a tank fallen for High Voltage. Was he just going for some spots in a place that he shouldn't have?
Well, see, this is where I get kind of an extra additional laugh out of this because I know wall hacks fairly well. I don't know exactly how you would be during this in an actual match, but in a practice or something, be like, well, I found him, guys. Like, yes,
Like that's what he said.
Yes,
yes
you
you did, wall hacks. Yes, you did. Well, I mean, he's a scout. He knows now High Voltage does know where they are. Being a scout down, right? Being your lowest tier tank down in this battle, is that I mean, how heavily weighted is that on the high voltage?
On
right
this map, it's a big deal because, as we've seen before, it's very tenuous to control different parts of the map. We're sending as few as 2 tanks over there sometimes.
Sure.
Or when we saw J-Smooth, he was freewheeling a lot in the RU-251.
Right. That's
and,
right.
And his
That's right.
closest support was pretty far back. It'd be like a T-22, and even he was exposed. That is how this map is played. The more you separate, it's easy for people to close that distance and jump on top of you from cover because of all the hills and all the bushes.
All right, so now that they are down, I mean, high voltage just have to be careful because eClipse now might be able to have more map control, more information, and find more of those angles.
Dark God Zim is very likely going to join wall hacks in the afterlife.
He is
Somewhat
spotted. He is spotted here down on the northern side of the railroad tracks. He's going to use this little rebel to stay safe, which is smart. Shot just barely missing there, coming out from Arclet in that IS-7. Arclet, man, good to see him again. Let me see a lot of these names. 5 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Not a lot has happened. High voltage have gone from the western side more to the center of the hill and still have a couple of those guys down the K3, K4 area. Meanwhile, eClipse has gotten that kind of extra push, a lot more force, further breaking the halfway point of the map, being looks like 3 of their tanks down there toward the south. Now, looking at where those tanks are positioned, David, for eClipse in that G2 area, they're about to, it looks like, surround the IS-7. So it looks like they're about to get a nice flank there.
That's what they're trying to do, but there are a number of tanks there for high voltage waiting for them to try and make that move.
Well, let's see right now as they're going through the first shot. They're going into Tigers in that object 140. Now the battle for the south really has begun. The 140 now having to be back up. Honey Badger and T1 Diabetic might not be able to make it in time. Tigers taking tons of damage, over 1,000 points, and there it is. Blue Boys captain is going to pick him up. So that is now a 1-for-1 exchange going for both these teams, but now Tiger Thief taking a lot of damage there in the SP1. He's got to be careful. Blue Boys Dan Thief doing a great job blocking the shots. There it is, the battle buddies we were talking about, and allowing them to do some damage onto Honey Badger. 696, one more shot. It looks like Ox Thief is coming in with the bad jet to try to take him out, but Blue Boys captain is going to take him out first. Now Ox Thief is going to go in for T1 Diabetic there, surrounding this T22 medium. Ox has got to be careful, though, as Master People Bubble do have some shots onto him. 342 going in here, but T1 Diabetic should be falling anytime now. One more shot, and Anthe is going to pick that one up. And now High Voltage has 6 members, and somehow eClipse has 4, just like that. After a flank that didn't quite go well for eClipse, Arclet now pushing very confidently in that IS-7. Master People does take down Tiger Thief, and that SG-1 finally. Now Arclet, though, is just kind of right there in his grill. Master not even actually paying him any mind. He's leaving that to the rest of his team as he's trying to take the shots of the rest of the members of High Voltage pushing up from the south against him. Meanwhile, we have Bird Thief and Drawcap going head-to-head. Drawk is going to come out on top of that E5, taking down an I-7, and now it is all tied up 4-4. Eclipse, though, is now going down. Master People takes down Anthe. Ox Thief takes down Bubble Boy. Eclipse has 2,300 points of HP on their side against the 26 for High Voltage. A huge chunk of damage are going into Master People, and the Centurion AX is falling. Blue Boys Captain's picking that one up. Arclet taking 379. His shot just there missing Drawcap, but it's not going to matter. Ox Thief is there to take him down with the help of Blue Boys. And now,
former teammates trying to pick off
Dark
Arclet,
God
and Dark God Zip gets him.
Ouch, there it is. Arclet going down. Blue Boys knocking a tree just to get to him, going right into him. 703 points of damage there. Blue and Ox are just going to deal the double team. This RU-251, and that is going to be the first victory going over to High Voltage of our 4th and final match of the night here. And now looking, because it looked like a very quick early pickup there from eClipse to take down the RU-251, the scout. Did they just not utilize the fact that they had the scout up against High Voltage, that they could have had the map pressure? Were they just too aggressive pushing against the going down to the south? Because again, they were on defense, so they could have just stayed, but they were the one who initiated the fight. So obviously, they felt confident. Was that just a mistake to push when you didn't have to?
Yes.
Okay.
Typically, when you do that, you want to send something more expendable first with a lot of people there on station, because anybody who can shoot, there's a path you could take with something like an RU-251, where anybody who could shoot them at a certain point should be able to be fired at by everybody else down the 1-2 line. So you kind of put your pawn forward, and anybody who tries to shoot that guy, that's when you're moving in your other pieces to try and take them out.
Gotcha.
But High Voltage was running kind of a flex strategy. They were going to take a lot more time. And then eClipse came to them, and High Voltage just rotated back exactly how you should have. Arclet making some huge plays there, driving
straight across.
Somewhat carelessly, on purpose though. It's informed. He knows exactly what he's doing. And in fact, it was a lot of the mediums in the Southwest that were taking their sweet time getting there, stopping for shots and stuff. And if I were Arclet in that situation,
Guys, come on!
You're like, just get here. I don't care if you're going to sneak a shot past me. Get here, and it's game over.
Right.
So that's probably a conversation they're going to have. But let's go to stats while we can.
Oh,
never mind.
maybe
We
can't
cannot.
go to
But I'll
stats.
just say Blue Boys with 41-77 in his T22.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
The T22 is also shining a lot tonight.
I was going to pick. It was between him and Bird, and I picked Bird.
Hey, right now, if Tim, our sound guy, is listening, he asked me, should he pick Blue Boys, should he pick Bird? I told him to pick Blue Boys. He went with Bird. Hey, that's on you. Ladies and gentlemen, High Voltage is up 1-0 now against eClipse. We have switched sides. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks. The night is young, though. The night is young.
True. eClipse with a bat chat, an Action X, 2 140s. Yes, that's 2 STBs and an RU-251. High Voltage with 2 IS-7s, a 140, an STB, a T-22, an E3, and an RU-251 of their own.
All right. So let's see if High Voltage can keep their RE2F1 alive a little bit longer than last time. And starting us out, High Voltage there. Just Tiger Thief there in the STB1. Just kind of driving on his way, looking back, taking a shot. Don't know why. Just taking a shot. And Oxy too. Looks like this is a thing they're doing. Everyone just taking shots in the back. Oh. Well, it's good to turn the camera and see what they're shooting at.
Buildings.
Shooting at the buildings.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, then what? Why? That makes a lot more sense.
Well, we can fly over there.
Let's check it out. This building shot brought to you by Intel.
All right. So, well, it doesn't look like they got this. It doesn't look like they destroyed a whole lot else. But these buildings over here, these little walls, things on cap, things like that, are all stuff that can block heat shells. And some of them can actually block AP and APCR shells as well.
Huh.
Some things.
Just want to make sure. Be safe.
You want them gone. You're going east. You want to make sure nobody can use those pieces of cover to your advantage. But most importantly, you don't want those things there to block Wallhax's ability to see.
Ah, okay.
So now you take some of these more common positions and you try and fire, and he can see anyways. So he's just going to sit here. He won't fire. He's doing what's called passive scouting, and he's just going to wait for people to light themselves while he takes a break.
It's just dangerous to light yourself. And while that was happening, Dark on Zim did take over half of his points of HP and damage, and then RE251 doing a little bit of scout. I believe Ant Thief was responsible for a lot of that, and Blue Boy's captain now heading to the top of the hill in that T22. So High Voltage on defense, actually getting to the hill and putting a member up there as well, being backed up by. So it's kind of two members. We have Ant Thief, Tigers, and Blue Boy's captain for High Voltage against Master Pupil and T1 Diabetic for eClipse. They haven't pushed up. I mean, eClipse hasn't pushed up yet. No one's really confident enough to take the top. They're just kind of hanging on the sides. And looking at High Voltage, very, very biasing themselves over toward the east. David, if eClipse were to put some cap pressure onto the west, how hard would it be for High Voltage to get over there and reset it?
Not super hard where they are right now, but eClipse is in the middle of rotating around and doing a couple different things. But now that Master Pupil has been spotted in the southeast, they're going to have to accelerate that plan. Everything hinged on these two guys remaining unlit.
Well, there it is, and now that they are lit, the moment they did, Ant Thief decided to hit the brakes, turn his tides, and 834 points of damage are going into Master Pupil. eClipse is going to start putting that pressure, David. Like you said, they need to do this quickly because it was all on these two members. The RE251, driven by Dark Zim, is going to be the one to start applying that cap pressure. The RE251, so Wallhax on the High Voltage is spotted out. Meanwhile, Ant Thief and Tiger now are spotted, pressing their advantage up on top of the hill here. We'll see if they can get the shots. There's one shot going at Tiger Thief, 308 points damage. Ant Thief coming up to join him here. So many thieves just running right at Master Pupil and T1 Diabetic. And now it's a 140 against STB1 against two STB1s. Who is going to come in on top? Joined though by Blue Boy's captain. So that is kind of the linchpin for High Voltage, but meanwhile to the 3v2, so eClipse might have an advantage somewhere else. Ant Thief does find Master Pupil there. That is an STB1 going down, and now it is just T1 Diabetic. One more shot, or maybe a ram, and he could fall as well. And the reset going on to Honey Badger here on the cap. 10 seconds on, a nice reset, dropping it back up to 40, kind of dropping all around here, but High Voltage is in position. They have the resets that they need. All the members are lit up, and Arclet taking down Dark on Zim. Drak does find Wallhax, But that is all the cap pressure for eClipse gone. They're now turning their attentions here to Arclet in this E3, this tank destroyer. They're going to try to take him down as quick as possible so they can maybe hopefully come and join the rest of their team. 747 going to him. Arclet does find Blue Boy Carl while he is being taken down himself. Tigers has no more ammo. Honey Badger, though, should be able to get shots off. Let's see if Arclet will have one more. No! Draw cap taking him out there. Tigers does take 485 as he is on the run, but just 2 members remain for eClipse. And now just 1. Tigers go down. Ladies and gentlemen, you are seeing the one on your screen. It is Honey Badger in the 140 against Ox Thief, Bird Thief, Tiger Thief, Ant Thief, and Blue Boys Thief Captain. So we will see. It looks like High Voltage should be able to finish this one out quite quickly.
Indeed. Everything there, like we said before, hinging on those southeastern guys. Not being spotted. Not entirely sure how you're going to go about that. At some point, they're either going to spot somebody else, which lets their opponent know that they're there, or, I mean, I guess ideally, somebody will come down the rail line, spot it, and you'll get to kill them.
Sounds pretty sweet.
Something. But if it had all worked according to plan, from what I could tell, then High Voltage would have been trying to deal with the cap pressure, and they would have sent a lot of their tanks over there, and then 2 tanks would have showed up on the hill and started firing.
So that was Eclipse's goal.
That's what it looked like.
Okay.
It didn't work out.
No, not
and
at
it
all.
very likely won't against a team like High Voltage.
All right. Anything in
Unless
stats?
they get sloppy. Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of. Let's go.
That's kind of good. It's been a while. It's been a while. Welcome back, stats.
Draw cap with 2,000. We see the RU-251 Dark God Zim got focused out pretty quickly. Pupil was one of the STBs, one of the tanks in the southeast. He got taken out along with, I believe it was... Doesn't matter. So, for High Voltage, we've got both IS-7s getting in a lot of damage. They were allowed pretty free reign to drive across. Ant Thief getting in 2030, Blue Boys as well. And Wallhacks kind of went 1v1 against an Action X there, and he did everything he needed to. Where he didn't sit in the back and snipe and do a lot of add in a lot of damage.
Okay.
He made room for the IS-7s and the E3 to fight without an Action X there. So the Action X had to deal with him before anything else. He knows if he buys a certain amount of time, the guys will come off hill, and then the Action X is dead. So all he needs to do is buy that time. So he'll sacrifice himself for it. Okay. And this is the thing that makes, I know Ruka like to talk about it a good bit, and why I try not to as much, unless it's a good example, but scout play is always extremely interesting to me, and I believe to a lot of people who know a lot about the game, because there's little nuances like that where if you don't really understand everything that's going on,
you're like, oh, he
just died.
He just died. Why did he die?
Maybe he was being lazy about it, or maybe he knew exactly what he was doing. And that's the tricky part.
Hashtag scouts, ladies and gentlemen. High Voltage is up 2-0 against Eclipse. Let's go right into it and see if they can get 3-0. What do we got, David, for our tanks?
Well, now Eclipse has an E5, 2 Action X's, 2 140s, a T22, and an RU-251. 4 High Voltage, 2 IS-7s, a Batshed, an STB, 2 T22s, and an RU-251 of their own.
Keeping in mind this whole time, this is Eclipse map. And this, as far as their stats, this is the one that they favor.
They played the most of it.
Play the most. And so kind of going down on a map that you play the most on also probably doesn't feel super great if you were in their position. Kind of adds insult to injury there.
I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
What map do you want to play High Voltage on?
Yeah, that's so true.
There you go.
That's so true.
Might as well try and take him on.
Might as well do it on the one you like.
Take him on one of the new maps, or one of the ones you've played a lot on, right?
Sure.
Tricky part is they'll counter-strat you and they'll plan for it. But, you know, Murovanka, Prorovka, something like that, that's probably where I would have tried to take them just because it's newer, so they haven't had time to practice it as much.
I would be like, hey, High Voltage.
It's not going to matter, though.
Let's go to Cliff. And then High Voltage would be like, whoa, wait, why does Christian, who's, you know, just a bad player, want to take us to Cliff?
No, they would just laugh.
Maybe he knows something.
To be honest, they'll just laugh.
Yeah, it's like we would have a great time, though. We would have a great time on Cliff. 6 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. What you guys are seeing on the map is good spread from the R251. They are going over to the eastern side, leaving the rest of the members more so for High Voltage than Eclipse members on the west here. And this is the kind of stalemate we saw earlier on, where it really did come down to the kind of the scouts. But the scout that was sent was a bat chat against an R251, where clearly the bat chat cleaned it up. This time it might be an R251 against an R251. Wallhacks, he's on top of the hill now. He's just straight up there, just kind of waiting. So he hasn't been spotted yet. Now, if he is spotted, what does that do for it? Is that a huge thing? I mean, is High Voltage like, oh, wall hacks, stay lit, or stay hidden as much as possible, or is it not a huge deal?
It's not a huge deal where he is now. I mean, he can wait there, and anything he spots is just helpful information.
Sure.
Or perhaps he can get lucky and catch Dark God Zim, where he's not really paying attention, or he doesn't think he's not going to run at anybody. He's driving through the buildings or something like that. Then he gets the first shot into him, and oftentimes the first shot in a scout battle can pretty much decide who wins. So,
Gotcha.
just there to guarantee that these IS-7s aren't going to get picked from the side.
Also, a great thing is he's on the
Map control.
He's on the other side of the hill, so if there is a fight, he gets to go downhill to get to it, which will get him there even quicker.
True.
So a good position to be if I were him, indeed.
True.
The first shot there going on Dark God Zim, 505 points of damage. I don't think Wallhacks just did that, although he did shoot at the same time.
It was Arclit.
Arclit picked that one up. Wallhacks just going through, and Dark God Zim. Also, mind you guys, he is not spotted. You will see the members who have the yellow above their names. That is when they are lit. That is when the enemy team now can see their position. Dark God Zim not been lit up, so that's just some blind fire there going out from High Voltage, and just probably their scout's going to be there. In RE251, there's a good chance you got a couple tanks there, and they were right. Wallhacks now on the move. He's headed off the hill. He's driving very quickly and very aggressively. Man, the RE251 is so fast. Very quick tank. Indeed, heading down the hill. Nice little jump there into the water. Start moving his way up. See if we can find anyone over in the right-hand side of the map. Now, we've seen a couple of matches ago, we did see a member get up here for a team up in the BA0 area and do some work as other members try to come down and take him. Is this a pretty tricky situation to get a tank out once he's there?
9999 had one of their players
Yes.
And it worked because it was an STB. And an STB is not a bad tank for that kind of thing.
Gotcha. So, but just nothing super special of this hill. Just, again, more angles, more...
Yeah, a lot of bushes to spot stuff from. Wallhacks could very well get good angles and height to shoot Dark God Zim. But he'll probably have the discipline to wait, not just take the first shot he gets, but try and get a situation where he can guarantee kills.
Gotcha. And that is... obviously, he knows his role for his team. Oxthief now pressuring Dark God Zim. They're going to see each other out, and this looks like it's High Voltage, kind of the thing they were waiting for. Oxthief getting in position here, going to the far north of the map, sending Wallhacks here finally down from that A0 area. Joining him is the T-22 driven by Anthief there. And now Oxthief being careful, because once you pop over on the other side of this railroad, yeah, you got a lot of tanks pops. They're going for you. Blue Boys captain getting a nice shot there into Dark God Zim, into that RE251, and one more, and that will do it. Meanwhile, Wallhacks is starting the pressure, so this is going to be up to eClipse to see what they can do to bring their tanks over the side. We've seen it done before. It's not again, it's not a terribly hard thing to do if you are the defense. There's some nice shots from underneath the railroad track, but High Voltage looks like they're nice and set up and waiting for that to happen. Bird Thief and Arclit in the center of the hill. And now, David, if you're High Voltage, eClipse, what is the best way to get over there and get that reset?
You can't really go all the way up and over because you will die. So you really just need quick peeks with anybody who still has a repair kit, so that if they do get tracked, they can just hit that button and back up.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That's another thing we don't really talk about a lot. It's the repair kits and how crucial it is, and when do you use it, and when don't you use it.
The Action Exits can also shoot underneath the trains as well, so it's a pretty good option.
All right, well, we'll see if that goes through. Wallhack still building pressure, using that bush to stay hidden as long as possible. A lot of damage going to Bird Thief and Drawcap. Going to pick him up, and that is the first tank falling for High Voltage, but Dark God Zim taking a lot of damage as well. One more shot, and he'll be going down. Tiger Thief taking some damage from the back. The Optic 140 doing work there from High Voltage. Spawning Tigers in that 140 is going to take off Tiger Thief, and that is 2 tanks down for High Voltage. This looks like Eclipse might be able to turn this around. Drock went over the top, got the reset, needed 775 points of damage, and Eclipse might be able to take High Voltage down here. They are up almost 3,000 points of HP, and Drock took Arclit. Honey Badger takes Oxthief, and Eclipse looks like they're going to take this victory, picking up one against High Voltage in what seems an immediate turnaround for this team. Drawcab finds Blue Boys captains. Dark God Zim shot T1 Diabetic, but I'm sure no one saw that. T1 Diabetic does take Wallhacks down, and now it is just Anthief to stay alive against 7 members of Eclipse. Not a single one has gone down, and Eclipse doing a fantastic job here, keeping High Voltage at bay. Master People jumping in, going for a nice fancy shot. Anthief picks him up, picks up Honey Badger. Excuse me, dodging some shots there, but not enough. He stayed alive for a long time, but that is going to be Eclipse with their first victory of the night against High Voltage. Now,
Decisive win, too.
yeah, so it's yeah, I mean, up six tanks still kind of at the end alive for him. Now, looking at what happened there, it looked like High Voltage was in a pretty good position. They got wall hacks into amazing scouting points. What turned it for them? Was it just not a good idea for go to the cap? Was it just they didn't have enough control over the damage that could have been dealt to them?
It looked like they lost a good amount of damage to Action X's that were firing underneath the trains. Not entirely sure. When they had that stalemate, they were losing it.
Right.
And that can just be little player shots, player skill. Bird Thief went down at one point. It didn't look like for a whole lot. Let's go to stats while we can. Maybe they will paint a more clear picture for us.
Yeah.
Kinda. Master Pupil with 3130 in his Action X. Draw Cab 2389, 2251 from Tigers. For High Voltage, Blue Boys with 2561, Ant Thief with 1815. Everybody else roughly 1,000 or below. So not positive trades, not hitting shots, not having shots. So positional stuff. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, and we're also kind of talking about at the beginning, High Voltage is not really doing what what you were suggesting, which is like, hey, if you're on a map like this and you have your player skill and you know that it's something you're confident about, just bring it to them. Just going to go head to head against them, and they're not really doing that. They're kind of they were going for cap. They were trying pressure. They're going to try to respond to what eClipse was doing instead of being the ones to make eClipse respond to them. Is that something you feel like they'll learn from that? What just happened and be like, all right, now nope, let's just rush them. Let's just go head to head. Or
I don't know if High Voltage really has a lot to learn. I mean, everybody makes mistakes at different points in time. Or maybe they have a different view of it, or they know stuff about the map that I don't know. But it looked to me like they gave up a lot of good map control to create a fight where I genuinely feel like the Western side has a little bit of an edge.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if eClipse can come back and tie it up against High Voltage 2-2, or will High Voltage pick up another victory, making it 3-1? Our final map from Pro Rovka. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks. And our final map, our final battle on Pro Rovka.
There you go. eClipse with a Bad Shad and Action X, 2 140s, 2 STBs, and an RU-251. High Voltage with 2 IS-7s at STB, 2 T-22s, and E3, and an RU-251 of their own. So, I'm guessing the same defense we saw from High Voltage last time. Skeleton crew to manage the west. Most of the people going east.
So last time, what went wrong for eClipse was they were spotted. Darkod and T1
One of many
Diabetic,
things, but yeah.
were spotted when they were trying to do this, the strat last time. It looks like they are not going to do that again. They're sending the RU-251, Darkod Zim, more for a scouting run, just sending one STB-1 up on top of the hill instead of 2. I mean, from what I saw last time, definitely going to improve it, just because if you are spotted, you're not sacrificing 2 tanks. It is now just 1, possibly giving you more flexibility over when you are trying to fight. But again, same thing looking for High Voltage. I didn't quite see if they got their shots on those buildings. I'm assuming they did. But now Wallhack's being spotted out, and he should maybe know where he's getting spotted out from. T1 Diabetic, though, still staying hidden.
But he's got Darkod Zim dead to rights. I don't know why he isn't firing. He is trying to come over here to make sure exactly that, to make sure the last time there aren't any more mediums over here like there were last time.
Right.
So that's why they're lead scouting with Wally here. Why he didn't stop for Darkod Zim, I'm not sure. He probably was expecting some of the mediums to be able to pick him off. Either way, it doesn't matter. He did everything he needed to do, and he's safe. So great job by Wally.
Yeah, got some information now. Didn't take any damage for it. Meanwhile, eClipse is starting to push up over to the northern side here. And this is kind of what we were talking about, High Voltage. The reason why they cleared this building last time was just so if this happens, Arclit can do a good job of getting some spots. T1 Diabetic taking a shot as well, and then STB1 dropping in at 1,200 points of damage.
Only 700. T1 Diabetic should have died or taken well over 1,000 damage there, in my opinion. Yes.
Okay.
There were plenty of tanks, plenty of information. They knew exactly where he had to go. There's no reason why they shouldn't have gotten a lot more damage than that on him.
All right, we'll see if that'll come back to bite. High Voltage having that STB1 with such high health. If they do start fighting, or when I should say they do start fighting.
It's still free. So I'm definitely splitting hairs here. It's like, well, they got 700 free damage, which is great. It's just could have been more.
Sure. Bird Thief spotted out there in that I-7. So now looking at the positions, right, David? We have eClipse on the western side of the map, High Voltage on the eastern side, and eClipse is on offense. So if they just take their, looks like they're doing it right now, Dark as they apply some pressure, they're going to force High Voltage to come over the hill, and that is when I'm assuming is the best time to light them up.
Yes, and if eClipse keeps T1 Diabetic roughly where he is now, somewhere in the south, and they get some spotting for him, anybody who wants to rotate over the southern side of the map will get shot by that STB consistently. But Dark God Sim getting lit up by Arclit and tracked on Cap.
Yep, Dark
does
Sim
manage to get away, but he is no longer as big of a threat. He can still put on the cap pressure, but he is a little bit more than one shot. So probably about 2 shots from death.
And he also just used his repair kit, so he cannot get out of the way if he does get tracked a second time. The cap pressure is being applied nonetheless. 79 seconds on the clock here. The northern cap looks like it's going to be the one that Eclipse wants to go for. Arclit is spotted. Now he's starting to get some shots there from the side. 611 points of damage there in that E3. He's got to be careful, starting to back up to be a little bit safer. Shot just there missing. They're coming out from High Voltage, Honey Badger and Blue Boy Carl. Honey Badger is spotted. Blue Boy Carl is not. 705 there going into the spot. Remember, the difference between being spotted or not, most of the time you take damage. Honey Badger just dodging another shot there. 4 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock. Darkazim has gotten off cap. It looks like they are just trying to hold that for now. Not sure that's what they want quite yet. If you are Eclipse, or if you are High Voltage and you got Eclipse to kind of stay off there, you're just waiting, right? I mean, there's no reason for you to push over. There's no reason for you to do anything.
Correct. Just making sure you're in the right positions for the right plays at the right time, and waiting for a trigger moment. Eclipse sending a lot of mediums down the southern side, trying to get a flank, but the RU-251, driven by wall hacks, will be able to spot them pretty much as soon as they break the tree cover here. So Tigers is going to lead scout this in his bat shot. If they take a direct path, they will get spotted very soon. Tigers is spotted. Fortunately for Eclipse, that means the rest of them can stop without being too exposed. And Tigers will very likely get to safety, but he won't be able to engage up and over.
Right. So a good job for Wallhacks spotting out the flank that could have been detrimental to High Voltage there. 3 minutes about on the clock.
Great job by Wally there. Just driving into the closest set of bushes.
And just waiting.
Where it's not a good place for Tigers to drive. That's the number one thing. If Tigers went to go check there, he would die no matter what. Wallhacks, knowing he's got the free reign, gets that last shot in. He's going to try and finish him off, but Anthief takes it from him.
The Wallhacks might be going down, though. He just gets around the side just in time. That RU-251. He's on 1 health. He is on 1 point of HP here.
That's one of those tricky situations where Wally thought there was no reason he couldn't fire. He just wanted to get in the damage because sometimes it's frustrating being a scout. But if he had held the shot, he could have lit all these guys without taking any damage in return.
Well, but at least they are all lit up, so he does know where they are. Master People and him, T1 Diabetic, they're just going to try taking Wallhacks. But now Wallhacks is a bit of a nuisance, stopping Eclipse kind of in their tracks. They don't want to push over too aggressive quite yet because they're being lit up. Meanwhile, over in the north, Ox Thief and Bird Thief, it looks like, are just going to be pushing extremely hard to go for either Honey Badger and cut him out. Blue Eye Carl might be able to get out of there in time, unless Ox Thief can spot him out here, but their turrets are all turned toward Honey Badger. There it is. They know they're over on the side. The first shot going into Bird Thief there in the IS-7, he's now below half health, but Ox Thief is still extremely healthy. And they are now lit up on Honey Badger. It's only a matter of time before he goes down. Meanwhile, Master People, 569 points of damage there going into that object. 140. Drock taking a lot of damage on Centurion AX. One more shot, and he should be falling down. He's at 112 points of damage here. Let's see who's going to finish him off. It's going to be Tiger's Thief to take that one out. Now Master People and T1 Diabetic doing the best they can. Wallhacks is still alive and still doing damage. A fantastic 711 there going into Master People, and that is going to be Anthief to finish him off. Now Ox Thief, meanwhile, is doing his best. He's kind of being sandwiched here between a couple members. Tiger Thief does take on T1 Diabetic. Blue Boy Carl, or sorry, Bubble Boy Carl, taking a shot there. And Ox Thief doing a great job. He's sitting with his IS-7. He's going like this. I'm going to take a shot here. Well, now Honey Badger got taken out by Arclit, and then he turns his turret, and he takes a shot on the Bubble Boy, who just went down. So High Wolf is picking up their 3rd victory of the night. On to our 4th and final match of the night, ending out our map of Prokhorovka. Looking at kind of what High Voltage did there, just a lot more. It just seemed a lot more controlled. Just slow play, taking the shots, being where they needed to be. Wallhacks doing a fantastic job scouting, picking up, making sure they're not getting the flanks, taking the shots in when they did. Ox Thief clearing out the members when they needed to, and just overall, just domination overall on the side of the map. Anything crazy they did well, or was it just a solid play?
Just solid play from them overall. Eclipse really didn't have the room they needed to go, and this is what I was kind of saying is Pro is not a difficult map for teams that have played it for a long time. It gets more difficult when you play against a team that's playing it or has been playing it for as long as you have, and then you run head into each other, because then there's no real good answer. But let's go to stats while we can, and check out Tiger Thief's debut, not only in 2016, but this season.
Yeah.
Granted, he did play the games before this, but overall match debut.
Yep.
And his first time on top. In the STB, 37-73 out of
Woo!
Tiger Thief. Tons of damage. Arc
So
Lib 28-23. And everybody staying alive.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing to point out.
That's-
Every single member.
Ox and Bird, my 2 fantasy picks in the I7s. Had I known that, I wouldn't have picked him. But hey, Ox is rarely a bad pick.
Yeah.
But both of them played exactly how they should have, with restraint at the right times. So no faults there. That's just
Hey, you live and you learn.
that's just how it plays.
They switch it up sometimes.
That's just how it plays.
They can do it. Now, we are going to be going into, spoilers, Muravanka for our next map. And unless it gets all tied up here, which eClipse totally can do, then we will not be seeing Cliff here. Sorry about that. But Muravanka, a map that we haven't seen tons of either. We see
This is
this.
what we were talking about before, too, right? Take them to the 2 new maps.
Yep, and this is exactly what they're doing. So eClipse trying to either hopefully just catch High Voltage off guard. We'll see. And I feel like Muravanka, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is like I feel like it's a harder map to then just push all of your guys straight in and find a head-to-head fight because it's such a big map.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this works for Eclipse's favor. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to go into our 5th battle of the night. High Voltage up 3-1. Let's go right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
Perhaps High Voltage feels that strategically that is the bigger gap for them. And that's why they want to play
They want to try. Okay.
more
they wanna
open
learn.
maps where they get a lot of rotations.
Sure.
I always preferred the head-to-head because it was simple and there's less risk to me, as long as everybody plays well. But, you know, to each their own. Perhaps this is how High Voltage wants to handle it when they're facing teams that are kind of in a similar realm. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Maybe not. EClipse with a bat shot, 2 HNXs, 2 140s, a T62A, and an RU251 for High Voltage, 2 E5s, a 907, an STB, a T22, a T62A, and an AMX 1390.
No, I mean it's a great thing to also know that High Voltage, this we're assuming was their pick, right? So we're assuming that Eclipse took them
It could have been
onto pro.
One of the 2 of them was a map they just didn't care about playing.
Sure, and both are newer maps. So yeah, High Voltage definitely can be like, hey guys, this is a map that let's stretch ourselves on. We still feel like we're confident. We still feel like we can win. So let's learn a little bit more about our team.
If we were to say, Tiger's taking a little bit of damage there, if we were to say that their philosophy is that they want to play maps where a lot of rotation and strategic movement does matter more, then playing pro would have made sense because they have the most footage of Eclipse playing pro because that's the map
the
that
only
Eclipse
map
has
to play
played the
most.
most, which
Right.
gives them the biggest strategic advantage. So,
Sure.
maybe that's how they see it.
Sure.
We'll have to ask them
Yeah,
at some point.
We'll talk to them. Meanwhile, what we see Eclipse doing right now is sending all their members over onto the eastern side, and the RU251 being driven again by Dark Arts is scouting out a little bit further, really hugging the coast there. This is something that you said that the magical forest has been referred to has gotten changed. It used to be a lot easier to get through there unseen. Now it's a lot harder, to my understanding.
Yes.
Okay, so this kind of tactic that Eclipse is trying a little more risky than it used to be in previous seasons.
Well, it's actually the overall terrain change makes what they're doing easier and better.
Oh,
But if you had an actual fight in the forest itself, it depends. What I was saying before is the bush cover was so thick that you could put tanks in there and people couldn't see them until they stepped right on top of them. But that's more of an issue in like 15 on 15. In 7 on 7,
not as much.
with a good scout, there were paths that you could take that limited your exposure and let the opposing team, and then actually the forest could have been a problem, not an advantage.
Okay.
If you're using it. But at the time, it was always kind of daunting. The idea that there could be tanks hiding in there, and it's just virtually impossible to see them until you
Never
step
fun.
on.
Ox Thief over here just kind of hugging. It's kind of the bottom end of the map here in the K7 position. See running all the way through. Heading out. He got some shots off. Spotted people. Didn't take any damage. I don't know if he did any. But kind of stalled that Eclipse, and they are on the offensive team. So the more you can stall out for defense, the better. But still, so here's the thing. Even though High Voltage knows that a lot of members of Eclipse are over here in the east, they still have kept a lot of their tanks over on the western side. What's the reason for that?
They have wall hacks there to spot the 2 cap, so that's the only cap.
They're worried about.
They only have to worry about the 1 cap.
Gotcha.
Because they can reset the 2 easily. So that's all they're doing.
Okay. They're just
gonna
going to
camp. They
wait.
got no reason to go anywhere.
To go.
It's on Eclipse to find some sort of way of finding movement here.
All right,
It's going to take a long time for that to happen.
Yeah, Bubble Boy Carl and that AX just sitting there taking some shots, going in and out of being spotted and not. But again, High Voltage is happy to sit here all day and let Eclipse do this because time is not on Eclipse's side. 4 minutes and 18 seconds on the clock here. And it looks like now, if you were Eclipse, what are you looking for right now? Obviously, you have to make a move. You're assuming High Voltage is not going to move.
Any information. They haven't seen anything as far as I remember. And if they have, it was nothing important.
Gotcha. So they have just no idea
So
where
they're just
High
blind.
Voltage is. Right.
Just blind, kind of groping around, hoping to find something to hold on to here. And High Voltage knows it, and they're just going to wait.
All right. Well, it looks like as Tigers takes the shot there. And look, not a single member spotted again. So Tigers just took damage, and he has no idea. I mean, he knows where it came, what direction it came from. But he doesn't know exactly who did it to him or where they are at here. Team Diabetic is now spotted out. This is amazing to me. So many of these members are being spotted without being spotted themselves.
It's amazing to you and haunting to me. This was my life for the longest
This is
time.
why you're like, why? Where are they? Yeah.
The longest time.
That'd be pretty frustrating here. We got T1 Diabetic just trying to hide in the trees, doing his best to kind of go through. Finally, with some damage going on to wall hacks, and he wasn't even spotted there. Just some blind fire.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
If High Voltage wins this match, they put it to 4, and they don't go crazy aggressive for the rest of these, I'm going to make fun of them the whole time.
You hear the High Voltage? All right. You hear that? David has laid down the law. If you win this one, you've got to go
They
crazy.
already have enough of an advantage. Go home. Just go big. Get it. I mean, trust me, I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
It's a message of dominance among other things, and this shows that they are treating Eclipse with respect more than anything else.
Sure.
So it's reasonable. You got a 2-game lead. You could go either way, which is why I'm withholding
Until they go up one more.
until they go up one more. And then if they
Right,
still
it's
do
like,
this,
no,
when they still
come
do this when they're
on.
1 away. Oh man.
Is it possible, David, is it possible to bring a full lineup of artillery?
Yeah, I mean it's possible.
Oh, do it.
Okay, we're talking about totally different levels of crazy, all right?
Oh.
That's just that would be insulting to
Oh,
Eclipse.
okay. Don't do that, High
So
Voltage.
yeah, don't do stuff
do
like
that,
that.
man.
Because the worst part is sometimes it works, and that's the worst part. It's just like, if you bring it and you lose,
You always apologize.
if you bring it and lose, it's just haha funny, right? Like
but if you bring it and you win, it's like,
but if you
I'm
bring it and
so
you win, it's like
sorry.
I'm really sorry we embarrassed you guys like that.
Gotcha.
Like, some
Yeah.
people would take joy out of it. I would feel
Yeah,
terrible.
I mean, the respect between these players. Again, they all are in each other's shoes. There's a lot of respect. We've been kind of talking about them last season when they came, just hearing how they talk about each other. A lot of these guys have great relationships outside of the game, and so it is. You're absolutely right. Yeah, the insulting level. Don't bring artillery.
But so far, a lot of respect here, High Voltage. Making Eclipse earn it, making Eclipse come to them, and Eclipse has a minute and a half to try and get it done.
They're going to try on the Western cap. We'll see if it goes up from Honey Badger. Did start taking some damage there, 27 seconds, but the good reason they're going for Bird Thief. Some more damage to Arclip, missing a shot in that E5. We'll see if that comes back to Honda. Man Thief coming around the corner, getting lit up. 1,100 points to damage there. He has to back off. Not even sure he got a shot up there. And now Blue Boy's captain taking some damage as well. Oxthief now has to come around the corner to get this reset. He finds it. And it looks like it's actually not. He doesn't find the reset. It looks like Eclipse is trying to bail off the cap and push it right to High Voltage. They feel confident that they can take it on a head-to-head battle. Blue Boy's captain might be going down. Arclet taking on Bubble, and a Druck does find Blue Boy's a 1-for-1 exchange here. Now another tank going down, but Honey Badger going to fall. Masterful finds Anthief. Tiger's taking down Tiger. Tiger taking down Tiger. And now Ox Thief going straight up against Druck there. Eclipse. Their cap pressure is now thwarted. Wall hacks in that 1390 is now going for a bit of a flank here. As he knows, he is safe as all the members have been spotted out for Eclipse over on the western side here. Tiger Thief being chased down by Master People and T1 Diabetic here. Let's see if he can survive and take down a tank before he goes on himself. T1 Diabetic going for a ram. I guess I'm pretty sure a heavier tank than him, but he does finish him off with the shot there. Tiger Thief getting so close. Taking Master People down, but not quite. It is a 4-on-4. It still is anyone's game here. If Drock can take down Oxthief, Arcleak takes down Master Pupil. Drock does find Oxthief there, and now it is a 3-on-3 here. The HP, though, is in favor, and you're right, David. The clock, 5 seconds there for Eclipse to finish out. There is nothing they can do. Down to 2, down to 1, and that is going to be High Voltage picking up their 4th victory against Eclipse in our 4th and final match of the night. Eclipse just, again, like exactly what we were talking about in the beginning, just the denial information. eClipse just didn't know what to do. Took too long to do that. When you're in that situation, like you said, it was just daunting for you, right? That's the thing that you just hated being, you're just like, why can't we see them? Where are they at? And just not being confident.
I knew why.
Well, right,
that
but
was
like,
the difference.
sorry,
I knew why.
You know why
and
you
I knew
can't
how
see 'em.
hopeless it was to try and find him at different times. And it's like, but back then we both had caps.
So you
I
could
couldn't
just sit
do
back.
something.
Sure.
Like sitting there and do nothing actually drew out, which is why I don't want to talk about it.
Which is why we are glad we're in this new format.
Nobody wants to relive
Attack,
that period of time.
defense
Nobody
here.
does.
Yeah, let's just forget about the bad
So
memories.
let's
forget
go
the bad
to
memories.
stats.
Stats are good memories.
And then let's get ready to see high voltage. Please go big. Please. Draw Cap with 2576, T1 Diabetic with 2100, Master Pupil with roughly 2100, and then over here, Tiger, the Thief,
not
2454, 2364 out of Bird Thief, and Arclet with 2333, holding it together for us non-criminals at over 2000.
Yeah.
We non-criminals. us.
What I like about High Voltage too is, like, I think this is this for the first team I've seen that has like a name, a common name. That's a really creepy slogan.
Yep.
In between the teams, so it's cool. You know, it's just that cohesion. I feel like it's always fun to kind of see a bunch of thieves.
They
running
got their
at you.
own team meme.
Yeah, team meme. Hashtag team memes. Well, again, High Voltage just needs one more victory to finish off the night. David is excited and hoping that they go ham. Let us know. Are you hoping they go ham, or are you hoping that they they kind of play it as they have been? They do have a 3-game victory, a 3-game lead. But before we get into this match, which potentially could be the final, or you never know, Eclipse could come back. We've seen crazier things happen on the show. How, if you're in that situation where you have no information, do you just push? Like, all right, guys, we got to do this now because you know time's against you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's one of those things. You have to force stuff to happen. So I would not be surprised to see a very hard, like, 3-line push, 3-4-line push for some people in the East coming out of High Voltage, because then they guarantee that people have to come to them and they take certain spots and they get. Anyways, we'll see.
We'll see if they
we'll
do
see.
it.
Hopefully they demonstrate everything I'm trying to say here. But we got a battle going.
It is David's Psychic. Let's get into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Eclipse with 2 E5s and Action X, 2 140s, a T22 medium and an RU51, High Voltage with an I7 a bad chat, 2 STBs, 2 T54s, and a T22 medium.
All right, so you said a
Here we go.
3-4 push?
Here we go. Yeah, seeing a little bit of it. Maybe they'll pull up, maybe they won't. They could shoot in here to the one cap. That's going to depend on some of the vision they've got. They got 2 54s coming around the outside. The Bat Chat going over there to make sure anybody who's in the East gets lit and taken out. And this is pretty much what I was talking about. Hopefully they will... Okay, here we go. I'm not going to say hopefully about anything. We'll see. Here we go. Game beginning. They have now cut and taken control of a certain part of the map.
Yeah.
That otherwise Eclipse had to pay to try and get. And they did that by timing. There's only a certain number of places that Eclipse could be by now. High Voltage knows it. They're trying to get capitalize on that right now. It's not a great map to assault, but they're doing the best they can. Getting a little bit of crossfire here. Eclipse trying to get around to the eastern side to get better shots on the STBs that are up there in the F3 line. But High Voltage knows how to get away from that. They do have a couple shots into T1 Diabetic. And right now, it is going to be small exchanges, but the Bat Chat. Wall hacks going big in the East.
Wow, a lot of damage are going on to him. Dropping so low, 543 points health. One more shot, he's going to be going down here. Let's see if he can escape, or will this be his graveyard? Looks like he might be able to. Tigers is going to be the one who can show him down. The shot just missing there. He is buying time, which is beautiful for his team. The more time he can buy, the better. There it is. Tigers finally finishing wall hacks.
Perfect.
Meanwhile, in the north, High Voltage has decided to come and put the hammer down on a T1 Diabetic, Master Pupil, and Drop Cap. Arclet, though, is pretty low. One more shot there. He can each other from the back and from the side, and he will be going down 278 there. Now, one more shot as he is down to 0. Dark God's in, picking that one up. That is 2 tanks falling for High Voltage. Not a single one falling for Eclipse yet. They still have all 7 members up, but there it is. Blue Boys captain takes down Drock. Tiger's Thief now coming in to join the battle to take down Master Pupil there. And there's good HP sharing coming out from the rest of the team here. Tigers, though, finds and Thief. Meanwhile, Ox and Bird are going to take down T1 Diabetic. There's nothing that he can do. That Centurion AX going down. 4 tanks for Eclipse against the 4 for High Voltage. Let's see who comes out on top. Will it be High Voltage? Will this be their final victory? Or can Eclipse stall it out? Bubble Boy Carl taking down Tiger Thief, and now is a 3v4. And Bubba Carl taking on Blue as captain. That is 2 tanks falling for High Voltage. Now it is a 2-on-4 just like that. eClipse staying in this battle. Honey Badger in that T-22 still at full HP. And Ox and Bird Thief are now kind of looks like they're kind of panicking here. They're trying to back themselves up into a corner, having to reassess what just happened there because they just, I don't know if there's much they can do, David.
No, I mean, they can flail around a little bit. Worst case, eClipse sends in Dark God Zim to spot these two, and then everybody else stands off and snipes at them. Maybe they have to go after him, but we'll see. High Voltage still has a few options left, but it's going to be a lot of damage to try and make up here. Now, High Voltage, a couple mistakes overall, but it's just a very difficult map to assault. And eClipse made good plays. Pushing into the east as quickly as they did was what kept them alive here. Now, we could maybe look at stats afterwards and see if there were some bounces or some positional stuff that really came back to haunt them. But it looks like eClipse just played well, and High Voltage threw a fairly standard offense at him, and eClipse was ready for it. And High Voltage did not execute well enough to make it work.
All right, Ox Thief being lit up there in that T-54. Dark God Zim has his shot line up. It is an RU-251. There it is, one shot going through 324 points of damage there coming out for Bubble Boy Carl. Doing work in that Object 140. Dark God Zim just kind of holding on to his shot there, bouncing him back and forth. Ox Thief just barely above half health. Oh, another shot going through here after he was not spotted, so he kind of went to the shadows.
He wasn't spotted.
And then took a shot.
But he wasn't.
Yeah. Heck yeah, David.
That's crazy.
Heck yeah. That said, crazier things have happened. Eclipse is on the comeback. Woo! Ox Thief.
Does that send you full Will Smith all of a sudden?
Yeah, full
A little bit of Ric Flair.
Full Will Smith going out there. You gotta be careful when Eclipse on the comeback. Characters come out. 377 there going into Ox Thief again, who's not lit. Look at that. Not lit. Damage being taken there. And Dark God's in finally taking a shot there. Ox Thief taking a shot as well. But just kind of delaying the inevitable here for High Voltage. Really nothing that they can do. 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock.
Well, I'm happy that at least the two that are alive are the two that are on my fantasy team. So,
yeah, potential. Lot of points.
I guess you guys can rack it up.
All right, Ox Thief, Bird Thief, take it home for David. 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go to accumulate as many points as humanly possible. Ox Thief takes some shots.
Now I would expect High Voltage to do something similar to they did last time. There's no reason for them to play it fast now that they've given up one.
Right.
Because then it's it's not too far away from things getting out of control.
Right.
And it's their essentially last chance on a defense, right?
Well, we've also seen teams again, like you're saying, the respect that High Voltage does have for Eclipse, what they showed last round. This team, they're like, all right, we're gonna be on offense. It's so hard to get an offense. Let's just try to end it quickly. So they just kind of ran over. It didn't quite work out, but doesn't mean like you go back on defense. Go, okay, yeah, let's go crazy again. So
High Voltage could run a slower, more detailed offense that has a better chance of winning, but I don't think that was necessarily their problem this time.
Right.
It wasn't overall strategy.
It was a 4v4 for a second.
The 2e5s probably were a very difficult thing for them to try and deal with.
Ooh, a lot of damage they're going into. There it is, 727.
Finding that isolation.
Going on to Honey Badger. Bird Thief does take some damage as well. Oxy taking the shot from the side. His shot just missing. Bird Thief 314 going into him. A couple more shots though, and he is going to be going down. Can they take down Honey Badger before? No! Bubble Boy Carl is going to take down Bird Thief. Bubble Boy Carl racking up some points of damage as well, and that is going to be him taking down Ox Thief. Doom takes a shot. Doom takes the second one, and that is going to be Eclipse's second victory of the night, making it now 2-4 against High Voltage here in our fourth and final match. Now, like you said, it kind of came down to possibly missed shots or maybe some balances we might be able to see there in stats. But one thing before we get into stats I do want to talk about is High Voltage did not go for the cap at all.
No.
And that was something that was interesting to me. Maybe we can talk about that after we kind of get our stats, because there's some interesting stats, it looks like, on the screen there. So let's get into stats.
I was wondering if it was going to happen on its own. So you have to say the magic words.
You have to say it.
All righty.
Then
Bubble Boy Carl with 3,104 kills. Honey Badger, 2841. Just a lot of damage over her. Master Pupil, he didn't actually bounce as much as I expected him to. In fact, he bounced nothing. But, wow, interesting. Interesting. Not at all what I would have expected here. But, meanwhile, Drawcab did bounce nearly 1,600. There you go.
That's a lot of damage to bounce.
So what we saw is the STB struggled the most in that little situation. I don't know if they were just having trouble getting the right shots, the right places, what was going on. But it's pretty obvious here. Wall hacks, actually, the only two that he penetrated were those two that I was saying perfect on, so perhaps not as perfect as expected. Plus, kind of threw away a tank there. In some ways, it's kind of debatable, but interesting. Just not great shooting or execution coming out of High Voltage there.
Now, the thing I was talking about, they have the two TVT4s that they brought over by the Western cap, I believe.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
They could have put one on and just start some, or maybe put both on and put some cap pressure, but it looks like they were more focused on just an all-out brawl.
Well, that's the timing of it. If they give defense enough time, defense will stop them.
Gotcha.
Especially
So
when
they
there are
wanted to
tanks
do it.
rotating east like that, and Wallhacks has seen them. Now, if Wallhacks had seen them and not been spotted and they had stopped, then maybe, yeah, sure, cap pressure. But with them continuing that momentum up the eastern side.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to the next battle. High Voltage still just needs one more victory, and they are on defense. Will they pick it up right now, or can eClipse continue their comeback? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Clips with two 260s, a 140 and STB, two T22s and RE251, High Voltage with two E5s and 907, an STB, a T22, a T62A, and an AMX 1390. Let's see what Eclipse's aggressive option is.
It was a stormy day. in
Hard
Ivanka.
west, probably pushing to the one cap for some cap pressure.
All right, we'll see if they can do what a High Voltage just try to do against them successfully, or will High Voltage be able to stop them in their tracks. 30 seconds and already a very different play that we saw Eclipse do from last time. They're sending the RE251 down over to the east, but he is the only one. The rest going to the west, David, like you said. And High Voltage, one thing I noticed about this map too is there's not, the defensive team doesn't really leave their, too far from their spawn. They can get into pretty good areas right off the beginning. And
You are correct.
And here we go. The cap pressure being applied. 3 members going for Eclipse. They're just going hard right now. They want to try to do a quick cap against High Voltage and force them to come over the side and try to punish them for that Birth Thief. Taking the first shot of damage there. And now he pops up and gets a reset there for only taking 386 in return. 20 seconds on the clock. We'll see if High Voltage can continue these resets. Arclet, Tiger Thief coming around the side. 17 seconds now. Cap pressure is growing. Birth Thief taking a lot of damage, dropping him below half health there in that E5. Is getting down to 10 seconds. Blue Boy's captain, though, is going to have a shot. He misses his shot, though. That might be it. And Thief coming around the side, though. Another shot going through, but there it is. Master People taking 414. Draw cap taking 285, and the resets are now going through. Eclipse knows that the cap is hopeless, so they're just going to go ahead and start pressuring any members that they can. Dark God, Zim, Tigers taking so much damage there. Dark God, one more shot. He's going to be going down. Wall hacks, picking him up there in that RE251. And now Bubble Boy, Carl, 685 there in that T22. T1 Diabetic picking up Anthony. So 1-for-1 exchange. A T62 for the side of High Voltage. And only a RE251 for Eclipse. So not a bad mismatch there. But the HP is in favor of High Voltage by almost 1,000. T1 Diabetic taking some shots from the side. Oxy getting lit up, getting melted. T1 Diabetic finishing off there. Beautiful focus fire coming out from Eclipse. And now Honey Badger looks like he's going to be the next member to be focused down for High Voltage. He's one more shot away. Wallhacks finally coming in that 1390. He is almost reloaded. Tigers taking some damage there. Bubble Boy Carl, who seems to be the kind of the playmaker of the night, coming around to try and take some shots there onto Tiger Thief. But it's such a spread out battle here right in the middle. Arcleta. Arclet taking a shot there in that E5, and he goes down. Draw cap picking him up there in that option 260. Wall hacks takes down Tigers though. In it was a 1390. He picked that one up. And Wall hacks takes it again. What a beautiful 1390 play coming up from Wall hacks, showing the power of the scout here in this final match. It looks like of the night. It is still 3-on-3 though. Anything can happen here as Eclipse, but HP wise, there's so actually not too much in favor. Not just 500 in favor of High Voltage there. Wall hacks deciding to reload before he lets his final 2 shots out there. Tiger's shot missing. Draw cap. And now Blue Boy's captain kind of going up against Master People applying that cap pressure, and Bubble and Drock chasing down Oxy. Looks like they are very confident they can take him down here. Will Tigers be able to have a reload in time? He's reloading extremely slowly. No, Draw cap actually finishing him off there. And now it is just Master People versus Blue Boy's captain. If Blue Boys can pick it up, this will be good. But if Master can somehow survive the shot, no, it doesn't matter because Blue Boys does pick it up. It is now a 2-on-2 as a 1390 and a T22 for the defense against a 260 and a T22 for the offense. David, right now, who would you rather be?
Oh, man. That's very difficult to say. I'm going to go with High Voltage because they got an autoloader and they're on defense, but this is neck and neck right now. Bubble Boy Carl has to stay alive. If he goes down at all, Drawcap will not survive against the Wombo combo that is Wall Hacks and Blue Boys. and they're going to potentially spread themselves out a little bit too far and give these two the room that they need to turn around and jump on. But these two are playing an interesting game, going as far up to the red line as possible, try and flank through the eastern side. Or maybe...
Wow, they're splitting up.
They are splitting. If anybody chases them directly up there, they're going to get shot from 2 angles.
Drawcap looks like wisely, after being spotted out, is going to start moving my Blue Boys captain. Blue Boys looks like he's holding a shot there. Letting Drac kind of move on his way. Meanwhile, Wallhack's in that 1390. Over in that now A, almost B8 position, as you guys can see on your minimap in the bottom right-hand corner, going for a very large flank. And that is just going to be eClipse doing what they kind of have to do right now. I mean, they can't really chase. They've got to apply cap pressure and make high voltage come to them. If you're a Bubble Boy Carl, like you said, he's just very crucial right now. Where would you position him? I mean, where possibly would you think would be safe?
Well, I'm not super familiar with the T-22's depression capabilities, but basically kind of the G1 area is one of the better places, but he can easily be flanked by wall hacks. There's nowhere that's really safe for him. Perhaps G3, if there's still the bushes there that I remember he used to be able to hide a full tank in, then he'd get as much vision as possible, but as soon as he fired or moved, he would be visible and thus die. Does look like Bubble Boy Carl is starting to move towards that right now, if it still exists. And Wallhacks is taking a very direct path. He may catch him.
Oh, wow.
Unawares, but Bubble Boy Carl sees him, gets an early shot out and a track shot at that. He is now 2 shots. Wallhacks, 2 shots to Bubble Boy Carl, and this is getting more and more precarious.
Oh,
but Carl goes down to Blue Boys.
Captain, a beautiful shot there all the way from D1. A fantastic pickup for that T-22. And David, like we were saying, with that tank down, really not sure if Drawcat can survive, and he's doing exactly what I think he needs to do, which is push against the only tank that he knows he has an isolation on, but it's too late. The 1390 getting the track, shooting him from behind. Drawcat looks like he's going down. Wallhacks waiting for him to come around the other side. He is spotted up. He takes a shot on the Blue Boys captain. The shot missing. Another shot there. 212 points of damage, and Blue Boys is going to finish him off for High Wolf's 5th and final victory of the night. A fantastic play from eClipse. A great, kind of a great job from them, really kind of stretching it out as far as he possibly could. But overall, High Voltage coming back and picking a victory, and that is a victory that they got that Noble did not get. So again, I mean, just kind of a reminder that those positions on top might be switching now because of the points. But overall, a fantastic play, just a fantastic, well-respected. Again, I like that element of respect we talking about High Voltage had for eClipse. Not just going, yeah, let's just go crazy every game, but really being serious, because eClipse is showing that they are really good in the head-to-head fights. Just maybe a little more positioning, kind of going against the top team is also
It's hard to nitpick. I mean, they're in their later games, they're doing a great job. Yeah.
All right. Any crazy stats from that last match before we kind of close out the night?
We'll just say that Wallhacks did 2610, Blue Boys did 2788, and T1 Diabetic and both Bubble Boy Carl did over 2900 each.
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go over the 4 matches that we had tonight. If you guys missed anything, up first, DNA beating Simple Tankers 5-2, followed by Simp beating Noble 5-3. Third was Caller Wanted beating Yo 5-2, and finally, what you guys saw, High Voltage beating Eclipse 5-2. David, on the 4 matches tonight, what was your highlight? I think
Simp versus Noble.
Oh yeah, fantastic plays there.
You can see the glorious just smashing into each other on cliff.
Going up against it. It was so fun to watch them, like you said, on cliff. And, Mines was a little bit tricky for both the teams, but on the cliff, Simp just really showing amazing play. That was definitely the highlight for me. Let us know, guys, what the highlight was for you, and make sure you tune in Thursday, January 7th, for the next 4 matches. Up first, it is going to be Aquatic M60s versus Noble, followed by Googly Bobbers. Haven't seen them in a while. Versus Eclipse. Third, Simp versus Simple Tankers. That's going to be confusing. And finally, 07 versus Ping 999. Again, that is Thursday, January 7th. Tune in to those for those exciting matches indeed. Guys, thank you, all of you, for following us on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. Thank you for watching this on BattleViewer.com for all of you that did. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. On behalf of everyone here at the WGLNA, that has been David Williams. I am Christian Toma, and as always, thanks for stopping by.